So as we see here, take our hand, and in this hand we're going to play with basically how it works. Even take probably some sand from some other landforms over here, put it on top. As you can see, it goes blue, and that's kind of the computer saying, well, something's happening right now. So as you can see here, our elevation is getting bigger. So two plates might cause elevation, and they usually come from direct opposite sides. So there'll be one from over here on this side and one from over here on this side, causing this landform to move up. So as we form this thing, the forming of the mountain, one of the most interesting facts is one of the biggest mountains on the earth, the Mount Everest, as I talked about before, is 29,000 feet above sea level, which is crazy. Mountains are the only landform that have a tip at the end. Usually hills have more of a smooth arch over, and that's because when tectonic plates push up from the bottom, they basically are forcing the landform to create a tip at the top of the highest elevation point. So one of the things I'm doing around mine, and in some areas, some mountains do, some mountains don't, but most mountains do. You have a lower elevation, usually below the sea level there's water. And this also helps develop the mountain over time. So as erosion basically takes this sediment that's here and basically cuts it down, you're gonna have the elevation of the mountain get larger and larger. So like I said, mountains aren't formed in one night, they're formed over time. And over time, these mountain ranges begin to grow. In fact, Mount Everest is one of the still growing as we speak, according to scientists. So we can see here that I've created kind of a hill, most likely. So, but at the top of the hill, you're gonna have a point, not a huge mountain, but over time, erosion from the water that's down here, erosion from the area down here is going to basically cut away at the mountain. Not to mention the mountain itself is going to have erosion from the sediment, probably from rainfall that happens, and is going to cut in fact, a lot of mountains now actually are getting smaller and smaller. The tip starts to go away. You start to get more of a hill. So it's a constant process of tectonic plates moving up and creating these mountain forms that usually the erosion creates the mountain, but also in the same point destroys the mountains itself. So make it as deep as I can. Sorry, getting a little way. Kind of doing two things at once. Probably should have joined someone on this. So the mountain's going to cut away, kind of placing it on top. Obviously, that's not how it happens in real life. And that's what mountains would do. Mountains, as we can see, there's a difference from when I first started to what the mountain looks like now. As you can see from the map, you can see that the elevation changes. There's even some elevation over here. This is more of a flat area. I mean, my fingers aren't perfect, so I'm not going to get it 100% flat. But as you can see, the elevation, and there's different levels of elevation. So the mountain's it's not going to be one straight elevation point all the way up to the top. There's going to be breaks in the elevation that we talked about in class. That's going to happen along the mountain. And even in mountains, we can see that there's sometimes the erosion basically comes up the mountain, and there can be water. I know a lot of places, mountains actually have springs and stuff like that come out of the mountain and basically go into the large body of water that's down there. So especially in landforms, you can see that like a landform over here, you have a river that basically cuts into the water, and that's created over time from erosion around where the water is set. So that's something that's pretty cool. So that's something that happens here, and it's quite frequent. And as you can see here, so that's basically what a mountain is. Over time, landforms, maybe another earthquake might actually take that mountain and break it down. It might destroy the mountain. And over time, you know, it becomes a hill or becomes you know, a different sediment, and back to normal. You know, or until so much it actually sometimes flattens out. There's actually been recorded history where mountains basically lost the tip and basically went back to being a hill, or went back to being a flatter land surface, because of erosion and because of sediment falling down the mountain and creating loose sediment, creating a flat land surface. So hope you like this video. This is kind of my demonstration of a mountain. They're very, very, very simple, but yet very complex in the same instance. Sometimes they can be taken for granted. You know, especially around here, we have a good amount of mountains and valleys, and it's a beautiful to look at. But you know, until you start to honestly see what mountains are made of, it's crazy. So I appreciate you guys looking at this video. Hope you learned a little bit of something. I know doing some research, I learned some things about mountains, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.